All right. Well, I am Steve Cook with Lifeonaire. I am very, very excited to have this call here today. Our special guest is going to be Teresa Nelson. Teresa, thank you for being here with us. We are,
Hello.
I have, made the commitment that on occasion I want to do a member spotlight call, and we have a number of others that are coming up. But it is just an opportunity for those within the Lifeonaire community to get to know some of our members a little bit better. And I'm very excited about this call myself. I have seen at a number of the retreats that we have done where we've been in the same building, I have seen Teresa, but sort of from afar. I'm not her coach. I had an opportunity to help out at a Lifeonaire event earlier this year that Teresa was at, and she was helping with the event. And I got to tell you, she just has a magnetic personality that you're just drawn to. And it was so awesome to be in the room. We were working the whole time, so I didn't still, even at that time, didn't get to know her too much. So I'm probably as excited as many in the community to just get to know you more and to know more about you and what is going on, to hear some of your stories. So there's a number of things that I want to point out to everybody. First of all, you are a Lifeonaire student and a Lifeonaire.
Yep.
You are a Lifeonaire coach.
Yeah.
You also do a lot of help with fitness and nutrition.
Yep.
And coaching in that area. And you are recently an author.
Yes, I am.
And so you have a book that is published. And so
Yep.
if you can maybe start out, just tell us all a little bit about yourself and maybe how you first came to know Lifeonaire and what
Okay.
was it about Lifeonaire that attracted you?
Well, originally, I started out with a real estate program and had met somebody in there, and we were doing some deals, like some flips up in Phoenix together. And then one time we were running a Tough Mudder in Dallas, and he's like, "Hey," and they started talking about Sean McCloskey. When like I knew who he was, and he's not one of the ones that I took the classes from. And so, and they were just like going on and on about Lifeonaire because they had read the book and stuff. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And they were talking to me like I knew. And normally I'm like all, social and knew about those things, but I had no clue about Lifeonaire. So anyway, then he had an opportunity to join, and he says, "We're going to join this together." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So I joined, and I was originally in T2. And I was there for a little bit of time, and then he ended up dropping out. But because the membership was with him, it just kind of faded away, and I was no longer in it. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, these are totally my people." And so I looked and I looked, and the next time I found a Lifeonaire event, which was in Colorado Springs, I went to that one, and I was like, immediately, I had to get in. And I've been with them ever since, and I don't have any plans on ever leaving. I love it that much. It's been that life-changing and amazing. And just the people that I'm connected with, it's like my tribe that God only made for me, and it's amazing to have like connected with all these people. So that's me in a box with Lifeonaire.
So what I know of Teresa is after Lifeonaire. I mean, I've seen you. What was it about Lifeonaire? Where were you at in life that you felt like, I really want to be a part of this group and I need to be a part of it? What?
Well, like what inside of me was that I was happy. I had, pretty good collection of stuff, but I wanted to grow more and do things. But I was like seriously in like some comfort zones that I had created for myself. And I was really afraid to like move out of those comfort zones. And that's what, Lifeonaire like drew me. I was like, I knew I needed to grow and to do more with my life, but I just didn't know how to do it. And that's the approach that Lifeonaire spoke to me about. And that's why I had to get in.
Mm-hmm. And so since you have come into Lifeonaire, that you've taken on coaching, and you're
Yep.
now actually taking the same thing that people did for you and were making a difference. You're now making a difference in the lives of others.
Exactly.
You wrote this book. When did you write the book? Is it
I
something that
literally just started this year. I think it was in February or March, I had decided that I was going to go ahead and write a book. And my dad had been asking me to write a book for years and years before, but I didn't want to write it, because I was always afraid my dad would read it. So, and I mean, he was like one of my biggest cheerleaders in my life, but it was the book he wanted me to write. I was like, I just don't want my dad to read those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so then literally I just got it published. I don't know, maybe we're on like 6 weeks now.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes, actually, I was 21 years old, and I ended up going to Mexico on a vacation, and it actually was a drug run of marijuana coming back through. So we got busted coming back through the middle of the country in Mexico, and I ended up in a Mexican prison for almost 6 months. And so that's what the book is about. And then essentially it was me overcoming it. And I kind of realized that's a gift that God gave to me, was the ability to not blindly like walk through life, but be able to bounce back from big things. And that's like the thing that I'm able to give to other people, is just finding that avenue in there to help them with their life. Because I think that in any realm of like trauma or like pain or grief or any of those kind of things, I don't think it's measured on the act of what caused it. It's the emotion itself. And I know personally how to get in there and help people really overcome some of the things that they just don't see a way out of. So
It's interesting that you say that, because I just put an article out in the Lifeonaire app this morning. I wrote a post just about, what are you holding on to? What from the past are you holding on to and not letting go of, and letting it keep you from moving forward? And I share with people oftentimes, I've had many, many trials in my life, and I just feel like that God continues to keep giving me those trials so that I can be there to help others.
exactly.
And, in recent years, I've had some trials that really, really, some of them, I can't believe that I even found myself in this place in life. And I was like, and I'm a coach. This is never supposed to happen. And I would just be like, God, why? And then,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm sitting there contemplating why, and all of a sudden I have a coach who calls me up and he says, Steve, I got this student and he's going through this situation, and I don't know what to do with him and what to say to him. And I was like, that is the exact same thing I just went through. I said, okay, Lord, I understand why. And thank you for that. So
Exactly.
and
It doesn't feel like a gift at the time, but it's actually a gift to be able to have that firsthand experience, to be able to grab somebody else by the hand and walk them through it.
exactly.
It's, like I said, when you're going through it, you're like, hey, like you said, it's like, why me? And but it's amazing that it is a gift. It is a total gift.
Mm-hmm. Before we even, I don't want to get to the end of this call and forget about it, but can you tell people what the name of your book is and where they can get it?
Yes. Right now it's just published on Amazon, and it's called Dancing on Broken Glass. And I got to tell a funny story about that, is that I did a trademark search and I also did a copyright search, and it was never registered anywhere. So then I went ahead and I registered it. And then when I published on Amazon, turns out there's like 3 other books by the same name. So you have to, that's a new little angle now. I know with publishing, you've got to check all your like selling venues and stuff too, and just make sure that it's an original title.
Mm-hmm.
But mine is it's a ballerina, and of course the skirt is all sparkly because I love glitter. I love sparkly things. So yeah, that's where you can find it. It's on Audible and it's on Amazon. So you can get it in hard copy, digital format too.
And would you say that is representative of just that part of your life, or does it carry through?
Snapshotted like where I came from originally, because I think I used to say accidental Lifeonaire, but I grew up like a Lifeonaire light. I didn't have the financial education that Lifeonaire gives, and I think that was my main missing component in my life growing up. But I had an amazing life, and so I captured that, portion of it. And then I went into the whole thing in Mexico. And then, of course, how I overcame it. And then, so that's where that ended. And then Adrian, one of my co-students and like really good friend, he had inspired me to, go ahead and write, a further book. And then, because the editing turned out to be an absolute disaster, the people that I hired. But again, it I think is a blessing, because now I'm like, aha, now I know exactly what kind of a book it should be. So I'm going to go into a little bit more on how to overcome and how to genuinely be joyful on the inside. Because I don't think that's the thing that people really grasp a hold of either, is what pure joy is. It comes directly from God, and having that centeredness with God.
Mm-hmm. And so if somebody were to ask you, well, Teresa, I want more joy in my life, I feel like I don't have it, what would be like one thing that you would tell them that they should be doing in order to experience that joy?
Oh, there's a lot. I don't know of one. I would say start like with their language, not only to like how they speak to themselves, but how they speak to other people. That's one of the first things that changes not only your mental state, but it also changes your physiology. And when you start like changing your language, you're more open to things, and that's where you can like get into meditation, more prayer, getting connected with other people that are along the lines of where you want to go in life. So I think that's the one thing I would tell people, is you have to change your language, which will change you physiologically and also change you mentally, because that with that new perspective, it's amazing what you can do.
It's I can't believe like how you brought that up. And the first thing you brought up, I said I just wrote that thing this morning, and then this is the most recent entry in my journal. So here's where I ended my journal, but right here, and I was talking to my kids about this here yesterday, that I find the most joy in serving others, and that if I ever feel like I'm lacking in joy, that what I need to do is really stop focusing on myself and focus on others.
100% true.
And to really find and experience joy that way. And so, and that's just something that I know when the attention's off of yourself and you're really focused on others.
Absolutely. And then when you reavert that tension back to yourself, it just doesn't seem as heavy anymore. And it's amazing how much that giving does.
Mm-hmm. I find another thing that I will say, especially when people are lacking in contentment, I tell them to go out and find somebody who they can help, because
absolutely,
then you start to appreciate what you have. If you go down to a homeless shelter and you start serving, you almost feel bad that you were feeling discontent with what you have or something.
Exactly.
So
it makes your pity party not fun anymore.
Yes. So if anybody's on here listening and you feel like you're lacking in joy, I mean, those a couple of good tips. What are you most passionate about?
Definitely serving other people and relationships. That is a big passion of mine. Just like coming down to the park even today, just sitting with somebody and engaging with them as another human being, that provides a lot of fulfillment in me, is relationships and just connecting with other people.
And so you love serving, you love doing things to help people, and then you're big into fitness and nutrition, and
yes.
And is that an area that you do that because you like helping people, or is it just it's important to you?
It serves. Well, it is important to me personally. And on top of that, because I'm very compliant about what I eat, and so I know the operation, like how it makes me feel and how I perform and just how my energy is and everything. So I know the importance of it. I don't know why I'm fascinated with how the human body works and how people's perspectives also have, to do with their health and the outcomes that they get. But it is also the relationships and being able to help somebody improve their life so dramatically through health and fitness.
And so I don't know if I saw something that I wasn't supposed to see, Are you doing a call on helping people with losing weight?
Yes, that's another thing is I love to help people lose weight. There's like nothing that floats my boat more when somebody's like when they start shrinking and they just start coming alive inside. That actually like gives me goosebumps and I get happy and like it's bizarre how excited I get for other people when they start dropping weight and really improving their lives. And I started like in nutrition and stuff probably like 28 years ago. Um, just it started, I don't even know really where it started. I just was like, hey, this is how this works. And it just fascinated me. And I started reading. And then I started jumping into like medical journals and learning, about all the different, mechanisms of how humans and biology and everything work together. And it fascinates me. It absolutely fascinates me.
So you love helping people, you love serving people,
Yeah.
you love helping people with nutrition and health. You first learned about Lifeonaire somewhat through real estate
Yeah.
investing. Do you do real estate investing as well?
That's a fun hobby. So saying it's a professional task of mine, no. I've helped a lot of other investors bring deals to them or help them like work through deals. I bird dog before. That was my very first thing I did, and I hit that baby out of the park. I put a mobile home park under contract and totally sold the contract the next day, and I made like a lot of money on that one. I made $167,000, and that was just flying blind. And that bit me into commercial real estate. Currently, I own a motel that I am selling. I've owned an apartment complex, and that was a great story too. I'll have to tell you that one another time. I flipped some houses. I've hard money lent, and I also have a flex space commercial property still in Wyoming that is leased out. So again, I'm not like you in it. So I just do it because it's fun. Anything that like will put me onto an adventure, like being with other people, I'm game for. And that's what real estate serves for me. So, and commercial, that was my favorite. I love commercial property.
You know, I've always been the single family home guy, and the bigger part of my portfolio now is commercial. And
Really?
and on a certain level, it was by accident, but I'm liking it a lot. And anyway, you have you seem to be so well rounded, and so as a coach, when there's new people who you're going to have in your group, what kind of person is it that most excites you? What kind of who is it that you can help the most in this
The
process?
ones that most excite me are the ones that are just kind of walking in like a gray cloud. Because I'm like, oh, I know we're going to dig in there and find something and just let their light come out. So those are the kind of people that excite me the most. Um, and I've not found anybody that you cannot inspire them. And I mean, some people take a lot more work,
Mm-hmm.
but I do believe there's hope and possibility for everybody's life to just grow and get amazing.
At this very moment, are you able to take more people into your coaching program?
Yes, we are open for more. I'm currently coaching with Charlie Ingen, who is like he's an angel on earth, and Kathy Neubauer. And we've got a lot of similarity, Kathy and I do. So um, we work amazing together, and we've got plenty of room for some more students. We would happily welcome in more students. And our group is called Legacy One. And I tell you what, these people are really cool people. How they hit it off and just welcome everybody new that comes in is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I know I've had that experience, for many years, just to see how awesome people come together and gel. Um, Tell me a little bit about like Lifeonaire events, and I want to. There's one thing that I want to qualify. I want people to know is that you pack your bags and you travel to Lifeonaire events,
Yes.
and you don't get compensated for coming to those
Nope.
events. You come purely to serve at those
Yeah.
events. Why do you do that?
Because you are in a room of people that have that inner desire and they just know something is off. You're in a room of that many people. And like I said, those are the kind of people that just excite me to no end, that they know instinctively there's something more. And just to be able to like see their wheels start turning and how they just realize the possibilities that are out there still and their life is not over or they haven't blown it. And being in a room with, you know, Wojo and Peter and Rachel and everybody there that's helping, there's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it.
And so, how many times have you actually been to a Lifeonaire event now in the last year or two?
I think, let's see here, let's count them up. I'm probably at 10,
All right.
not
And so,
including the ones that I attended as a student.
you know, for anybody who is not, or who is on the call, who has not been to a Lifeonaire event yet, I want that to be a testimony. I want you to hear that loud and clear.
Mhm.
Teresa sees the impact at those events to the extent she is flying, and most of our events are on the eastern side of the country, and you live all the way out in Phoenix, and you jump on
Yeah,
planes and you fly to wherever the events are because you want to be there.
exactly.
And I just think that that is awesome, and I think that you know,
Yeah, and I even have my daughter who's 13 years old. She comes and she helps out with them, and she's addicted just like I am. She absolutely loves it.
she was a ball of energy too.
Didn't she, Gate?
So I don't know if you know it, but there's within the Lifeonaire in the background, they call you the Energizer Bunny.
It's kind of true.
So they referred to you as the one who's bringing all the energy to the table. So what else would you maybe like to tell us about you, or anything that you could share with others, just so that they could get to know you a little bit better?
Well, another big passion of mine that I've been like diving into is the whole human trafficking. It's a big deal. And here in Arizona, I didn't realize, you know, how prevalent it was. And it's like just there's like a huge, you know, trail and area of traffic that's like 12 miles from my house. And it was so eye-opening. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it was shocking, absolutely shocking to find that out. So I actually go out with military men and work in conjunction with Border Patrol. I don't work for Border Patrol, but what we do is like we go and clean up trails and find out what ones are being used. We put up like cameras. We do come across people. We've rescued people before. That is profound in and of itself, is to, you know, come across somebody that has walked 80, 90 miles into the United States, out in the desert, you know, during like this time of year, even when it's in the triple digits. There's nothing like it, coming across people and knowing that you've saved their life and you've actually intercepted them from, you know, coming into a life of, you know, in the shadows. It's crazy. But that's another thing that I'm very passionate about. And part of it is, again, that personal perspective of having, you know, what happened to me in Mexico. I know exactly like what a lot of these people are going through. And so it's very easy for me to understand them and to relate to them. So that's a big thing that I'm very passionate about, and to get the word out to as many people as possible that it is real and it's very heavy in the United States. And so just that awareness is very important to me.
I think it's important what you just said there, because, you know, for quite some time now, the church has been focused on trying to stop human trafficking, but the emphasis has been outside of the United States, and it
Mhm.
is very prevalent all throughout the world. But many people were blind to what was taking place right here in our own
Yeah.
backyard. and
Yeah.
how much of it is happening. And so, I mean, I think that's awesome. My wife has been very involved with, was very involved at one point with a ministry
Oh,
that,
really?
yeah, that was helping out with human trafficking in the Philippines and Thailand. But
Oh,
then her interest turned right to the town that was right next door to us. We lived right near a heavy vacation area that was bringing in JV students from all around the country, and so these students, I'm sorry, not from all around the country, from all around the world, who were coming into work because they had a shortage of employees there. So they brought all these people in, and they were just so vulnerable, and
mhm.
and it was for the longest time nobody would talk about it, and that's the sad part, is it's happening all around us, but we don't want to
Yeah.
accept the fact that it's really happening. So good for you. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it's absolutely it's shocking, you know, and then and coming back to, you know, the United States of we're like the number one consumer of, you know, child pornography, which is terrifying actually. You know, because you look around and you're like, oh my gosh, who's doing it, you know? And the anonymity that people have, you know, with all this technology and stuff is, I think, why it's grown so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a big deal. It's a very big deal and very eye-opening. And I'm glad that it's being talked about more. Um, I think that's where the tide is changing. There's a lot more active groups. There's a lot more people that are not just talking about it, but they're actually taking action in all the way through it, not over with helping the people, but in how that they're treated in their rehab process, and then the aftercare from there, and assimilating them back into life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool to see all avenues are being taken into action now.
Well, it's uh, as my wife and I would both say, we just need more of Jesus, because you know
It's true.
that's the issue at hand, and if we just draw closer to Him, then almost, you know, all that stuff would start to go away. Well,
Exactly.
it is a heavy subject, and I don't necessarily want to just move on from that, but I do want to really give the whole group an opportunity to get to know more about you. Are you open for taking some questions?
Yes, I am open for taking some questions.
I was informed that this could go for a very long time.
I've disciplined myself very much in the last year of trying to stay on point and not blather on. So
we I You have
I'm not
free
ever a
reign.
loss of words.
You have free reign. So we're going to go ahead and open things up for those of you who would like to ask a question. There's a way that you can raise your hand, and I can open up the lines for you. Or if you want to put your questions for Teresa in the chat, I will pull those up and read them for her. And so, does anyone have any questions or comments for Teresa?
No bashfulness, anybody.
Does anyone know how to actually raise your hand? I will tell you this, you can just unmute yourself if you can't figure those out. I am not a tech expert myself.
Me either. That's not my gift.
All right, we just had Eric, who unmuted and then muted. All right, anyone with questions? Jeff, did you have a question? You just unmuted yourself.
How does Kurt keep up with you, Teresa?
He's got his he just lets me go. He does. I got it. A funny thing about that is that like this last time, I like driving too. So sometimes instead of flying, I'll just hop in a car and I'll drive 2,000 miles to get wherever I have to get to for a Lifeonaire event, or even to go visit students. That I was trying to hurry up and make it home for Father's Day. And I was like, I can get there the day before Father's Day. And he was like, you know what? I know your spirit. You just do your thing. And so I stopped and I visited people, and it took me like 5 days to get home. But so he understands, and he he cheers me on and says, go for it. And so that's pretty liberating and amazing.
Yeah, I saw that. It was great to meet him too.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. He's a great guy. I'm a great shopper.
Hi, this is Kathy. I have a question.
Yes.
Well, two of them really. Kind of sounds like maybe you stumbled upon your trailer park deal. How did that come about? And then also, now maybe everybody else already knows this, but I don't. So I'll just ask, what in your background has led you to the trafficking? If you don't mind answering that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, the mobile home park deal just happened to be that I was looking for a mobile home park to buy for myself, but I didn't know necessarily how to pull off the financing end of it. So it was just networking with people and talking with people. And then it turned out this one person was like, hey, I've got this mobile home park that we've been trying to get rid of. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for a mobile home park. And so that's just how it is that I'm never at a loss for words, and I've never met a stranger. So that's essentially how that came about. I was just chattering my little heart out one day, and then it just came up. So that's how that one ended up coming to be. And then how I got my background on the trafficking, that was where I was saying when I was 21 years old, I was in a Mexican prison for almost 6 months, and I was trafficked personally. And so I've got, firsthand experience from it. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, is I just want to make sure that as many people as I can help going through that or stop it happening to them, I'm going to do it.
Okay, I knew you're amazing. Now I'm positive. Wow.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Eric. I had a question. You said you help people with their weight loss goals, and I was just wondering if you have a specific program that you would do with them, or would you just see where they're at and encourage them?
Well, and what I do like with people, because I find that compliance is like a really, really big deal in people being able to either maintain their weight loss or.
I'm Sam. Sam, I think we hope
Hey, Sam.
Yep. How are you? Sorry, I'm not on mute yet.
You're fine. But no, I actually like dive in and get totally up in everybody's business, find out about them, their life, their lifestyle, what they've tried. And I personalize it to them just so that it ups their chances for success and to be able to, keep the weight off. So I don't have a particular plan. I have a basic premise that I follow, but for the most part, I adapt it to the people.
That's the way I do my coaching.
Yep, exactly.
That's not a one-size-fits-all program for everybody.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, there's things that don't work and that are gimmicks and, out there. And another thing, too, is that I've never really had like a weight problem. There was probably about 15, 20 pounds. But other than that, I've never really had a weight problem. So there was no real relational, to that. But I did find that, it's easy for me to try stuff. Like if I hear something and I'm like, that sounds like it might work. You know, I'm totally willing to try any kind of supplements, any kind of like eating, well, mostly eating. You know, just those plans to actually see what the results are and how the effects are and how easy it is to do, how hard, and those kind of things. So again, I've got that personal firsthand knowledge to be able to walk people through it. So self-experimenting is like a fabulous thing to do to ferret out what's true and what's not.
That's awesome. I love that. I always feel that that's the way coaching should be.
Yes.
All coaching should be tailored to the person. And
Yes.
you know, all too often, I will just say this: when somebody is just teaching you and trying to help everybody be the same thing, or taking everybody through the same program, that's not coaching.
Exactly.
That's just teaching, and you're teaching a program and expecting everybody to do the same thing and come up with the same results, and that just doesn't always work.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, anybody else with questions?
Hey, Teresa, I have a question.
Hey, you.
Hey, I'll get on video for a minute. Sorry.
Shoot.
I know, I missed you too. Your book was fabulous, by the way. Anybody that has not read it, please order it. It's wonderful. I know she's working on book number 2. So we talked a lot about, at our last retreat, about like our morning routine and our miracle mornings. Can you tell us what you do in the morning first thing and how you start your day?
When this girl gets up in the morning, I have 7 dogs. That's another thing I love, is I love animals. So I sit there and have like a different day with each of the dogs. So it starts out with one, she loves to immediately go play. So I get her playing. The other one has to go have his breakfast right away. So I get him all excited about his breakfast. And then there's another one that likes to be tucked in and sleeps in. And so it's dogs in the morning. So that's my miracle morning. And then from there, I go and I write. That's where I get the best thoughts, is after having that little bit of time with the dogs in the morning. Then I just go and I start writing. That's where I'll put out some of like my deep thoughts, I call them, from that gal in those pants. So yeah, that's my miracle morning. And then from there, you know, it's family. And then I love in the afternoon too. That's when I usually lift or go sprinting.
Oh, a little.
Yeah. So that's me in a nutshell there. I like chaos, I think, is how I start my morning out, and that's quite enjoyable to me. So it's a great question.
So where does the energy come from?
My joy, and then also from just eating well. I only eat meat, and actually October will be a full year that I have only eaten meat. I did have like a rogue day. I had an avocado, some like colored carrots, and some cucumber. But other than that, I've not swayed from it. And that's even given me more energy than when I went keto 10 years ago. So it was just like a step further. And so that's where some of that energy comes from. Most of it comes from my joy.
That's a diet I could do.
You're right.
All right. Anybody else? Questions? I wanna put out there, and you know, you're coaching with Kathy and Charlie, and
Yes.
you know, I get to hear things from my, you know, the position that I'm in, and I get to hear stories, and I get to hear things, and you know, it's always awesome for me when I get to hear testimonials that are not just from my group, and I get to hear and see what is happening in others. And I just want to put out there that it makes me feel good that I know when groups are really strong, when I start to see the testimonials coming in, or I start to hear the stories. And there's always, I've never heard of anything negative about Kathy, Charlie, and yourself.
No,
Everything
they're
is always
amazing.
very positive.
Kathy and Charlie are a miracle. I mean, they're incredible.
And I, I'm putting it out there, and it's not to plug coaching, but for somebody who is interested in being part of a strong group and a group that really meshes and bonds, the stories that come from your group are some of the best that I hear. And so I want to just put that out there for anybody who is considering something like that. When somebody does join your group and they actually come in, what can they expect? What is, if they come in, I know you said you like to have people coming in with that gray cloud so you can help them to see more, but maybe without using names, maybe you could tell us the story of someone who, a year ago came in and where they're at today and what.
Okay. One of our students, it was when I actually started coaching with Joe Turney. And we had one of our students like transferred over with Charlie and Kathy. And he was just he had a lot of walls, and he was just timid from letting other people reach into his life because he'd been like incredibly burned. And he's come alive, like super duper alive. His relationships are starting to get better and clearer for him, which they were very vulnerable at being a complete loss for him. He would have, I think, found himself divorced and then probably alienated from his children. But he's doing the work, and he's been just like, I think, the greatest miracle ever. And he's still a work in progress, but he's really doing incredible. Very, very incredible.
So bottom line was he found a group of people who he could trust.
Yep, exactly.
He's been willing to open up because of the authenticity that's there.
Yes.
That's great. We have.
I mean, if anybody you would think that was impossible to change, it would have been him. And I mean, like if you judged people on the surface and didn't really believe in the process of how this whole thing works, then you would have just like chalked him off of, a failure. But that's not true. He trusts everybody in the group, and everybody is very welcoming and like they're amazing with him. Absolutely amazing with him.
That's awesome. All right, we have Michelle who has raised her hand.
Hey, Michelle.
Unmuting her.
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful.
Good.
How about you?
I'm doing well. I have my video off because I have country internet and the wind is affecting it. So two things. Sorry, I was on another call and I missed the first half hour. Can you tell me, I just heard somebody mention that you wrote a book.
Yes.
Can you tell me the name of the book so I can look it up?
It is called Dancing on Broken Glass. And is, I do believe, like the third book down, because it's not the only one of that title.
Okay.
But it's got a lot of sparkle on the cover. And then, of course, with my name on it. So you can easily find that.
Thank you. And then second, on one of your Wellness Wednesdays, you had mentioned a breathing technique for exercise. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit why you so strongly support that and what that is?
Oh, yes. Essentially, the metabolism and all that, it burns in oxygen, in an oxygen-rich environment. And essentially what aerobics is upping the oxygen, bringing into your body. So that's why I believe in it so much. It's actually an old technique way from like a long, long time ago. And then people played around with it a little bit. So the one that I like the best is the Oxysize. And it's just crazy. Like, so some really like severely obese people, they're able to do it and get tremendous like results from it. People that have got injuries, I recommend it for stress reduction. So it's a pretty cool program.
Great. Thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Elizabeth, do you have a question? Oh, she did. She was unmuted and then went to mute. Anybody else with questions? We continue to have people join us on the call. The room is growing. Any other questions or comments? When is your next insider call?
My next insider call is on the 9th of September.
Okay.
And I think on that one right there, that's my losing 10 pounds fast is what that one is. And I'm going to go into, you know, all the different ways that is and is not good for you. And then the call after that is on the 26th, I think, where I go into like some specific vitamins and stuff. And then not necessarily brands, but the particular vitamins themselves and how your body performs on them and then the necessity for them. So, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Any other questions? Well, I just want to go ahead. I'm going to just give a quick recap and then wrap some things up here. But want to encourage everyone to even get to know more about Teresa, to go pick up a copy of her book over at Amazon. It's called Dancing on Glass. There's 3 different titles of that. Make sure you get the one with Teresa Nelson as the author, and reach out to her and, you know, get to know her. But also, if there's anyone who you know, says, hey, I really like this woman, I'd love to be coached by her, I want to encourage you, reach out to us, and we can talk about that and see if it's a good fit for you. You know, we are going to continue to keep on doing these member spotlights. This just so happens to be a time when, you know, Teresa is also a coach, and her life has been dramatically changed through her relationship with Lifeonaire, and she's now giving back and doing that same thing for others. And so, Teresa, I want to just thank you. I really appreciated you taking the time, you know, so that I can also get to know you more. And you just have such an awesome personality. Just bring that joy every time you walk into the room, and I thank you for all that you're doing, just even for Lifeonaire as well. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Steve. That's absolutely amazing, and I appreciate that so much.
So, all right, everyone, thank you for joining us, and keep an eye out for upcoming calls. I am going to continue to keep on doing these and helping everyone to get to know others in the community better. Have a great day.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Bye, Steve. Thank you.
Bye, Teresa. Have a good day.
You too.